Mark Twain famously quipped that there are three kinds of lies: lies, damned lies, and statistics. You can basically cite any kind of statistic to push your agenda, and because of the inherent complexity of statistics, it can often be hard to get a genuine picture of what's happening. In daily life, the humble percentage can be used to devastating effect to give a completely false impression of something. And because sadly, much of the public today wouldn't even pass a grade 6 maths test, unscrupulous organisations and media can befuddle people with figures that, whilst not actually false, are certainly highly misleading. One such example cropped up a couple of days ago, and which I mentioned in my EV news videos. I hope you're checking those out, linked to the playlist in the description. Bloomberg, which has a financial news source, knew full well what it was doing here, claimed that it was only Tesla that was having a rough patch, and cited percentage growth in EVs to claim the market was surging. Not false, but, as we shall see in this video, highly misleading. Welcome back to MGUY, British engineer and lawyer, now Sydney-based YouTuber. Be sure to follow me on the usual socials for more content, links in the description, and please make sure you're subscribed and have enabled all notifications so you don't miss out on any future videos. If you sell 10 widgets in 1 year and 20 widgets in the next, that's a 100% increase in widget sales. Wow, right? Well, yes and no. Yes, because you've doubled your sales, but if the total widgets sold in a year is 10 million, you've actually gone from 0.001% of the market to 0.0002% of the market, an increase of just 0.0001. And when we're looking at EV sales, which are pretty small anyway, any increase year over year is likely to look very impressive in percentage terms. And this is exactly the subtle and cynical misdirection which Bloomberg used in an article a few days ago. The slowdown in US electric vehicle sales looks more like a blip. EV sales are still booming for most automakers, even if Tesla is in a rut. After an underwhelming start to the year for US electric vehicle sales, it might seem easy to conclude that the boom times are over. Sales were flat in the first quarter. Ford dramatically scaled back expansion plans, and Tesla laid off 10% of its global workforce. But these dismal indicators only tell part of the story. For every sign of an EV slowdown, another suggests an adolescent industry on the verge of its next growth spurt. In fact, for most automakers, even the first quarter was a blockbuster. 6 of the 10 biggest EV makers in the US saw sales grow at a scorching pace compared to a year ago, up anywhere from 56% at Hyundai Kia to 86% at Ford. A sampling of April sales similarly came in hot. It then used this snazzy interactive infographic to back up its claim the EV market was essentially booming. So let's look at Ford, for example. This chart shows year-on-year growth of 86.1%, which looks mighty impressive, doesn't it? But let's actually look at the raw numbers to see how this fits in the overall picture. So how many passenger and light commercial vehicles did Ford sell in Q1 of 2024? Here is data from Market Lines, link in the description. 504,815. And if we look at this chart from CarScoop's, link also in description, which shows the actual number of EVs sold by manufacturer, we can see that of that 500,000 total cars, just 20,000 were EVs, or if you prefer, just 4%. In the first quarter of 2023, Ford sold 471,861 vehicles, of which about 11,000 were EVs, or in other words, about 2.3%. So Ford has gone from selling 2.3% EVs in 2023 to selling 4% EVs in 2024. That's an increase of just 1.7% in real terms, as opposed to the crazy 86.1% increase cited by Bloomberg. You can do the same thing with all the others as well. And if we look at the total EV sales in Q1 of 2024 of 268,909 and compare that to the total number of passenger and light commercial vehicles sold in total, which is 3,774,691, we're looking at just 7.1% of total vehicles sold being EVs. Compare that with the figures in 2023, where 262,043 EVs were sold out of a total of 3,592,322, the percentage then was actually, wait for it, slightly higher, at 7.2%. So shockingly, the percentage of EVs sold in Q1 of 2024 compared to Q1 of 2023 has actually gone down. See what I mean about statistics? This doesn't mean we shouldn't rely on data to make decisions or judgments, but in unscrupulous hands and inflicted on the general public without much numerical literacy, it can be extremely misleading, as this example shows. And it's particularly shameful when it comes to a media organisation that should, and probably does, know better.